Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am back with my Wonky 3-patch mini quilt, which isn't as mini as I thought. When I left you last time, I told you I would finish making my blocks, and I have done that. And as I also said, I have 2 blocks left over, which we will use probably in a disappearing quilt block tutorial. Maybe we'll do that later. I decided since the first video that I want to rag this instead of sashing. I haven't done ragging in quite a while, I think since like March, and we are in October now, so I thought let's do that. Also, my blocks are bigger than I wanted, so if I add sashing, I'm going to end up with a pretty big quilt. But if I rag, we will be losing some of the edges, you know, into the seam allowance. So that'll make it a good size. I am going to be backing it with flannel. I will not be putting batting, not in this one. I want it to be just a nice little like lap blanket. At one time, I purchased some flannel remnants. None of these are like really good with this that I have going on, but I am going to choose from one of them. I probably like the purple and green the most, just because I like purple and green. But I have 1.5 yards of this, and I don't need 1.5 yards, so in the way I'd rather keep this for a bigger project. I have 1 yard of this, and this is okay because I have green in here, and it's got little yellow dots, which I don't have yellow, so maybe I would like yellow. I don't know. None of these are really my favorite. I like this print, but I'm going to go with the dots. Let's do that. So what I'm going to do is cut 16 squares, the same size as these. It doesn't have to be perfectly even. It's not like I have to do rotary cutting with my ruler, because we're going to be snipping all the edges. So if it's too long or too wide or uneven, none of that is going to show. So let me move these and keep them in some sort of order so I remember where I want them, and I'll be right back. Just to keep this easy, here is how I am going to cut. I'm just going to trim my edge. And I want 9 by 9 squares-ish. Can be a little bit bigger, doesn't have to be. So I'm going to cut strips 9 inches. That's how I'm cutting them. And in 1 yard, I should be able to get all 16. And then I am going to just cut 9-inch squares. So I just trimmed the selvage off, and let's go to here. That gives me 2. That gives me 2 more. So I have 4. Nice piece of scrap here. That was easy. I am going to be sewing in assembly line fashion, and I don't want to get screwed up. These stacks are my columns going up and down. This is my first column, this is my top block, and then, you know, all the way down to the last block. So what I'm going to be doing is sewing in columns. I don't know why I chose to sew in columns instead of rows, but that's what I chose to do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put these 2 aside for now because I'm going to be connecting all these all at once. So let me think for a second. I'm going to get myself ready so that when I go to the machine, I know exactly what I'm doing. We're going to do the ragging on the top side. So what I'm going to be doing is when I go to the machine, I want a flannel wrong side up, and I'm putting my square right side up. So when you're doing this, you want your right sides showing. Right side on the bottom, then right side up. You can see my flannel is wider in places. That's fine. It's just going to add to the raggedy effect. So I have that sandwich, and I have this sandwich. These 2 sandwiches are going to get sewn together. So I'm flipping this one like this, and this one's going to go on it here. When I go to the machine, I am going to sew a generous, I would say maybe like an inch in if I'm measuring as far out as the flannel. So this is going first. This will go second. I want those two to connect, so it's here and here. Going to put that under this. Make my sandwich, sandwich flips, sandwich goes on top. And I'm putting it under this pile. All I know is what I'm looking at is my top left corner. And I don't want to turn that in any way. Sandwich, sandwich, flip this one, put this one on top, put this on top of there. Okay, let's go to the machine. I have not turned this at all. I'm going to take my first two sandwiches and I am going to be quite generous, and that looks like that's going to be just fine and dandy. So I don't know, I'm probably like an inch in from the edge of the flannel. Leaving that right there, taking the next two, and I'm going to send those through. Take the next two, send those through. And the last two. Alright, let's go back to the other table. So I know this was my top piece. There's the next one, the next one, the next one. And you can see that when I open these, we're going to be all set. We're going to just have to do the snipping. So I'm just going to leave those together for now. And let's do the same with these two stacks. Okay, here's my two right-hand columns. So this would be column number 3. So when I open this up, it's going to make column 3 and 4. I'm going to snip this and open it. Snip this and open it. Put it on top of each other for now because I don't have very much room. And open. And then this last one, open. Okay, I'm going to do the same with columns number 1 and number 2. Top, there. If you're afraid that you're going to screw up your blocks, you can always pin some little stickies on there and number them. You could do like by rows, 1A, B, C, D, and then 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. You know what I mean? Whatever you need to do to keep it straight. Now we have to put these together. So let's make the little sandwiches. This is going to get connected like this. So I'm going to just pick it up and put it like that. These are the next two. Pick it up and put it like this. And I'm going to put these on top. Here's the next two. I don't want these to fall. Picking this up like this, like that. And then the final two, putting it together like this, like this. I can even those out a little bit at the machine. And now I'm going to be sewing this edge on all of these. You might be saying, oh my God, she doesn't care at all if these things line up. You know what? I don't care. It's a rag quilt. I want it to be quick and easy. Okay, I got my first row up there, my second row, my third row, and my fourth row. Now we have to connect the rows. So let's snip these apart. Where is it? Only one snip in the center. So these two will be connected here. So I'm going to put those together like this. And I'm not going to do chain piecing because this would be quite heavy hanging. So I'm just going to go ahead right now and sew this one right here. And then I will put it back, and I know I won't get mixed up. I don't care about intersections matching up. I don't care about any of that. Okay, same thing. I'm going to do at least an inch. Now when you get to the parts that you're going to snip, you can decide. You can have them go one direction and then the other. I usually do that. So like the back one I pushed it up, and then the top one I pushed it this way. Same here. Just ran out of thread. I have enough right to the end. Now I could easily get mixed up here, but I happen to know that my dark blues, I know the pattern. There's top corners, here, bottom corners. So I know this is the right way. Next, I am going to put these two together. Like that. Right here. Now we just have to do the center, like this. Along here. I have to back you up a little bit. We are done with the basic construction of this baby. What we have to do now is go all the way around with about an inch seam allowance. Doesn't have to be that big, but I am going big because I want it to be able to be sloppy. So if I do a big seam allowance, I'll be able to take care of all that sloppiness. So let me just go around, all the way around, and then we'll be snipping the edge along with all these seams. I do want to mention, and I have done this in a previous video, I will link to it down below. It's a quilt that I made for my cousin. When you sew the blocks together and you snip, that gets extra raggedy because you have 4 layers of fabric. But on the edge, you only have 2 layers of fabric. What you can do is cut strips, 1 or 2 strips of flannel, and tuck them on the inside, or cotton. And then when you sew, capture the strip. So then when you snip, you will have extra fabric there. I wanted to do that for this with the extra flannel, but I don't think I have enough flannel to go all the way around. So just letting you know. But I will link down below to, I know I have a video that shows you how to make a rag quilt more raggedy. All right, here we go. And at this point, when you get to the seam, let me see, forgot that I moved you back. I just open them flat. We are done except for all the snipping. You can snip as you go if you want to do a row and snip some of that. So I'm just going to show you what the snipping is like in case you haven't done this yet. Where you sewed your seams flat, you can just go in and snip on each side. And here too, we'll snip in this direction. And you're just going to, go wherever is comfortable for you, and you're going to just do it whatever way works for you. I generally like to have it on the table, and you just snip. Oh my God, I love my new snipping scissors. I'll have to see if I can find these for you guys. They're Westcott. I picked mine up at Martin's. They're just the right size, and they work like a charm. And they're spring action, so you don't have to open them. I could be in love with ragging again. All right, this is too awesome. And snip, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, whatever you feel like doing. I purposely did not wash this fabric. I like to make rag quilts before washing the fabric because I like the quilt to shrink together. It just makes it that much more bubbly or whatever, especially if you have batting inside. So I'm just going to do that to all the raw edges and also along the outside. You just snip up to the stitch line. Don't get to your stitch line. And you just do that all the way around. And then after that's washed a couple times, it gets all fluffy and very cool. So let me snip this entire thing, and then I will be back tomorrow with it washed and dried, and we'll see how it turned out. Look for the playlist link to watch video number 1 of this, and also check out that other video about how you can add to the edge of the blocks if you want more raggedy. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back with more soon. Bye!